We are honored to have with us today editor and author Terry Whalen from Morgan James Publishing. Terry has written many books. His latest is 10 Publishing Myths. He certainly shares a lot of great information during the interview, such as how do you position yourself to write for a magazine? Terry also talks about the rule of five, what you need to do to be successful as an author. And what does it mean to take 100% responsibility for your success? Terry doesn't just talk to us, he offers a lot of solid information. Please make sure that you listen in today, and you can contact Terry at his website www.terrywhalen.com.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Earrings Off. We want to invite you to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. You can find us on Facebook at Earrings Off Podcast and on Instagram at The Earrings Off Podcast.
Welcome to Earrings Off. I'm Lou.
And I'm Teresa.
We have with us today Terry Whalen. Welcome to Earrings Off.
Well, Lou and Teresa, it's really wonderful to be here with you.
I tell you. Well, we're excited about the conversation, Terry. So now you had a wake-up moment as an author. Can you tell us when that happened?
Yeah, that happened in 2007. Mark Victor Hansen, the co-author on Chicken Soup for the Soul, was having this event out in Los Angeles called Mega Book Marketing University. And I was running a little literary agency in Scottsdale, Arizona. And so they invited me to come over to LA, and I took pitches from authors during this event, Mega Book Marketing University. But I also sat there and with about 400 other people, and I listened to the different speakers. At that point in my life, I'd written about 50 books for traditional publishers. So wow. Two of my books that I wrote got six-figure advances. I mean, publishers were making pretty books. They were putting them in the bookstore. Mm-hmm. All kinds of great things were happening. But when you're in publishing, often once a year, maybe quarterly, the publisher will send you a financial statement about how your book is doing. Well, all of my books were in the minus category.
Oh, wow.
I wasn't making any money with my books. Uh-huh. And I really couldn't understand what in the world was going on here. And now one of the speakers at Mega Book Marketing University was Jack Canfield, the other co-author on Chicken Soup for the Soul. And Jack has written this book called The Success Principles. So he's really analyzed what it takes to be successful. And the very first success principle says that I will take 100% responsibility for my own success. Now, none of us want to take 100% responsibility. We want somebody else to do it. We want some publisher, some marketing person, please, somebody other than us.
Yeah, because we need someone to blame, but go on.
But I decided during this event that I was going to take 100% responsibility for my own success, because I realized how little I was doing personally. I had a terrywhalen.com website, but I was doing almost nothing else to be telling people about my book. So I sort of decided to wake up and actually do something to be telling people about my book. So it's one of the real key lessons that I learned. So back then I started blogging. I was one of the early bloggers. I started my blog in 2004. They say there's over 600 million blogs that are out there, but my blog today has over 1,700 entries in it. I found an article that said I was one of the top 27 content producers out there in the blogosphere, and it's just because I've been faithful. I guess is what I'd tell you, is that I blog every week. So I write a little piece and I put it out there in my blog. And over, if you do that, suddenly you have this big volume of material out there.
Wow. Okay. When you mentioned chicken soup for the soul, made me think about a memory from my kid when he was young, something he did at school, and the teacher asked him something about, you love to read. He said, well, my mom reads chicken soup for the soul all the time. She's got that. And he was like in elementary school when he was saying this. So,
That's
yeah,
cute.
yeah, wonderful series. So,
Well,
Okay.
even those chicken soup for the soul books, people forget the journey that those guys were on. I mean, they couldn't find a publisher for those books. They got rejected over 160
I,
times
I cannot
before they
believe it.
finally found somebody to publish that book.
Wow.
And they finally found a little publisher in Florida that would publish those chicken soup for the soul books. They told their publisher that they were going to sell 1 million books in the
I
first year.
saw that. Yeah.
And the publisher laughed at them. They just thought that was a ridiculous idea. They never sold 1 million copies of anything at that point.
Yeah.
But it took them 1.5 years to sell 1 million books because
Wow.
these guys practiced what they call the rule of 5. So they got up every
Yeah.
day and
I
they did
saw that.
5 things to tell people about their book. And that's really what it takes as an author to really succeed out there. You have to be working at it. You can't just
Yeah.
sit back and figure that it's going to happen because you did it.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I think that applies to a lot of things, really. I
Yeah.
like that, the rule of fives.
Yeah.
hmm
Hmm.
So, as an editor, what is one of the biggest errors authors make on their expectations for their book?
Well, one of the biggest errors really, Teresa, is that people, right or wrong, they believe they're going to make a lot of money with their book.
Of course.
Yeah.
And they just forget that there's over 11,000 new books that are published every day. I mean,
Is
that
that right?
includes all the self-publishing stuff. There's a lot
Yeah.
of volume out there. And so you as an author have to be doing something to get that out there. And the making money part is, sure, that's part of it. But part of the reason you publish a book, you publish it for other reasons. You publish it because of the authority, the expertise it's going to give you. It's going to open up speaking opportunities. There's going to be a lot of different things that happen because you have a book. So you have to kind of look at it differently than just that you're going to make money from it.
hmm hmm
Hmm. Okay, so Terry, why did you write 10 publishing myths? And what do you hope readers will do after reading your book? I want to know why you wrote it, but also I want to say thank you for writing it.
Well, thank you, Lou. I wrote this book because there's so much of the publishing process that's really outside of anything as authors that we can control. So I wanted people to have realistic expectations as far as what was they could actually do.
Mhm.
I mean, I talk to authors all the time. So I'll talk to an author and they'll say, well, my audience is over on YouTube. I built this big YouTube channel, or my audience is on Facebook or Instagram or X or whatever the social media platform that they're on. Well, that's all fine and dandy, but in the business, we call those kind of platforms, those are rented platforms because I don't control YouTube or
Mhm.
Facebook
Right.
or Instagram. I mean, I could violate their terms. I could get kicked off of those places tomorrow. So be smart about where you build your stuff. You can control your own website, your own blog, your own newsletter. Those are all things that you can do something about. So really think all that through before you just say, well, okay, I'm going to build my stuff over on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hmm. Okay.
That's actually some great advice.
That's excellent.
I
Yeah.
like that. So, what is a myth buster action in each chapter of your book?
In each chapter, I included an MBA, a mythbuster action that's really a practical step related to that chapter that the author can actually do themselves. They don't need anybody else to do that and succeed with their book. Like, for example, every author, one of the things that they can do is to be a writer. You don't necessarily have to publish a book. I mean,
Yeah, I saw that.
you can write for magazines.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's one of the reasons I've written for more than 50 magazines out there. Now, if your book sells 5,000 copies, that's a pretty good number within the publishing world if it sells 5,000 copies. In the magazine world, it's very easy to reach 100,000, 200,000, 500,000 people with your magazine article. And you can learn a lot as an author working on magazine pieces, because you learn how to write for a particular audience. You learn how to write what the editor is asking you to write. You learn how to have a good headline, how to have a beginning, a middle, and end, how to have a single point to your article, all those kinds of things. And, if you write 15 magazine articles, those can be chapters for your book. It just depends on how you work this whole thing. And at the end of your magazine article, you can say author of 10 publishing myths.
Mm-hmm.
Send people to your book. And it's easier to work with a magazine article, which is maybe 1,000, 1,500 words, as opposed to a 50 to 100,000 word book that you're writing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I loved your tips in the book, Terry, about how you can find, trying to figure out where you might succeed in getting published. Like your tip about if you know you like a certain magazine and you follow it, and you can find out, okay, what are they looking for so that you're more likely to be able to sort of get a foot in the door. And I hadn't really thought about that like that. So that you've offered some amazing tips in this book.
Well, thanks, Lou. Yeah, it's really true. The magazine editors, they have a thing called guidelines.
Yeah.
Where they actually tell you what they're looking for. And it's not rocket science here. It's really basic things that if you give them what they're looking for, they're going to be more likely to publish that.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yeah. That's good stuff. So, Terry, why does the author have the greatest passion for their book?
Well, yeah, that's really an important point that people miss. I mean, sure, your publisher has an investment in the book. They want you to be successful. They want to help you get it out there. They're going to do their part, but maybe they're doing 20, 50, 100, 150 books. So their passion is divided, where you as the author have the greatest passion, the greatest desire for your book. So you need to channel that passion and keep that going, because I tell people all the time that the only person that can quit for your book is you. So don't quit. Keep going. Find that right place for you. It's out there. We live in a land of opportunity and abundance, really. So got to just be looking for that right opportunity for you.
Okay.
For the novice writer, what is the most important attribute to become a successful author?
Well, there's a lot of things an author can do, but as a novice writer, one of the things that they can do is, again, write for magazines, because you get exposure doing that. And those of us, there's sort of a catch-22 in publishing. It's almost like when you're brand new and you're looking for your very first job, you've got to put together a resume to get them interested in that.
Yeah.
but you don't have much to put on that because you haven't done anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's the same kind of thing in publishing. We're actually looking for people that have been published in order to publish those people some more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the ways you get published is by writing for magazines and having that credit as being published in those magazines. I mean, I was associate editor at Decision Magazine with Billy Graham. I worked for him for a while, and back then we were doing 1.8 million copies of the magazine. I mean, you talk about exposure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Big time exposure when you have a piece in there. So it can really be good for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm.
Lou hasn't shared it yet, but she's a published author. She's written for some newspapers.
Okay, truth be told, it's my hometown newspaper. They sort of have to run it. But anyway.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. Lou is a storyteller, and I have been trying to get her to write a book for the longest time.
Okay, this interview is about Terry. Really?
No,
Is that
I
what
would
we're
like
doing?
yes, but I got a question. I'm leading to a question, Lou. I would love you to offer some advice to Lou to get her beyond the fear of actually putting herself out there and writing that first book that I know is in her.
Well,
tell you.
yeah, I think all of us have those fears. We have those concerns. Who in the world would be interested in our stuff? But one of the best ways for you to get over that fear, Lou, would be to write a document that in the business we call it a book proposal.
I saw it, and you gave great tips on that too, Terry.
And that's really your business plan as far as who's going to buy your book. I mean, authors will tell me, well, my book's for everybody. Well, that's not true. Your book is for a primary audience, a secondary audience, a tertiary audience. Who are those people that you're really trying to reach? And writing a book proposal helps you identify that, sort of have a business plan, know what the outline of your book is going to be, what you're going to do to sell the book, who are the competitive titles. I wrote a book called Book Proposals That Sell, 21 Secrets to Speed Your Success. And I wrote that book as a frustrated acquisitions editor because I really wasn't getting the type of material from people that I wanted. And people can get that book from me for free if they go to bookproposals.ws, bookproposals.ws. You can get the ebook version for free.
Yeah.
Now, why in the world would I give away an ebook version of my book? I give that away because one of the things that we've proven at Morgan James is that if you get my ebook version and you start to read that ebook version, there's a high probability that you're going to turn and buy the print copy of the book. Mm-hmm. So giving away an ebook is really a way to drive print book sales.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. But I tell you, you gave a lot of great information in there on how to submit a book proposal. So lot of great stuff. So Terry, why did you write The 11th Myth, and where can people get it?
Oh, thank you. That's a great question. Alice Kreider, who is an acquisitions editor at David C. Cook, when she sent back her endorsement in the book, she told me, she said, Terry, you're missing the 11th myth. I'm like, oh, okay, Alice, what's the 11th myth? She said, well, the 11th myth should be that if I send my book to Oprah, she'll book me on her show. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's a pretty good myth. So what I decided to do is I wrote that chapter, and when we designed the book, we designed that chapter to look exactly like the rest of the book. And people can get that for free from me by going to terrylinks.com/11th myth, 11th myth. And you put your first name and your email address in, then I'll send you that chapter for free.
Very, very good. I think we might have covered this earlier, but what is a platform and why does every author need one?
Yeah, a platform really is your presence and your connection to the market. Like just imagine you're sitting on a stage platform. It's raised up. And so publishers are always interested in your numbers and your connections. So that's one of the things that they want. And so everybody starts small, is where we begin with and nothing, but then start building that, because those numbers really are important. Now, it's not that social media sells books. They've pretty much proven that social media doesn't sell books in some ways. But the reason those numbers are important is because that's exposure for your book. Because what we've learned is that somebody has to see about your book maybe a dozen times before they actually reach into their wallet and decide to buy that. So part of what you're doing in your social media posts about your book is just implanting that idea in people's head that you have a book and your book is out there. And you don't want to tell people, buy my book. Nobody cares about that. So what you do instead is you emphasize the benefits that somebody's going to get from buying your book. And so that's what you do. So like for my 10 Myths book, for example, I'm going to be telling people about this podcast because they can learn about 10 publishing myths, but when they watch this podcast, hopefully they can get my book.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I like that.
So, Terry, thank you so much for joining us today here on Earrings Off. Do you have any parting words for our audience today?
Well, I do, Lou. I really want people to get this book, 10 Publishing Myths. And if they go to publishingoffer.com, just publishing offer, type that into your web browser, that'll send you over to a site that I have where they can get this book from me for only $10.
Okay.
Counting the shipping, along with over $200 worth of bonuses. So I really want people to get this book and succeed. But my message to authors is this: we get rejected a ton as an author. We hear the word no all the time. But I've been in some of the top literary agencies and top publishers in New York City. And when I go in those places, every time those people are asking me, okay, Terry, where's the next bestseller? Where's the next great novel that we're going to read, or the next nonfiction book? And so my message to people that are listening is, sure, you may be getting rejected. You may be hearing people say, no, thank you, or they don't even answer you. But I want you to know that they are reading. They are reading those pitches, and they are reading their regular mail, because we're all looking. We're all looking for that diamond in the rough that we can actually publish and get it out there into the world and really succeed.
Okay. Well, again, thank you for being on Earrings Off. Great information. And we know it's going to be of a great value to our audience today. We wish you all the best, Terry, as you move forward. Again, thank you.
Thank you, Lou, and thank you, Teresa. And I'll be watching for your book, Lou.
Right. Okay. Take care.